Hey, aloha gang, Dr. Russ Rosen here, and welcome to the Maiden voyage of the OHC System Community Facebook page, or the OHC Community Facebook page Masterclass. And here's the deal. My intent was to go live today, and I just started messing around with it. I know several of you said that you saw me goofing around with trying to go live, and it wasn't working as I had hoped, and certainly the video quality sucked. I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I'm recording this ahead of time and just sending it out. Originally, my intent was to go live, and I knew, look, it's our first time doing it. I didn't expect a whole lot of people at it live. So normally my intent is to go 10 to 15 minutes on these and then open it up for conversation because I'm live, you're there, you can type questions, etc. But I figured no one would be here at the beginning, so I have a bit more to share with you today. So I want to dive right in. The intent of these master classes are give you bite-sized chunks of information that hopefully can really help you grow your practice in a care versus care true optimal health model. Specifically, what we're talking about today is the importance of certainty. And here's what I know about all of us. All of us really want to get the best results with our patients that we possibly can. We pride ourselves on that. And we want to really get paid well for what we do because we work hard and we put a lot of time, energy, and effort into continually improving ourselves. And we want to have a thriving practice. We want to have a wonderful life, yet we have concerns. You know, some of us are just not as successful as we had hoped to be. Some of us aren't getting the kind of results that we had hoped for. Some of us aren't making the kind of money that we had hoped for. Some of us feel burnt out. Some of us are frustrated that we get such great results, but then people don't refer in their family members and their friends. And we try all these different things for marketing, but it doesn't work. And if it does bring people in, it doesn't bring in the specific kinds of people that we really wanted to bring in. So I get that a lot of us have challenges. Many of us have challenges with staff. I hear it all the time. So what I want to talk to you about today is the foundation of everything. In my mind, between the ears certainly is the foundation of absolutely everything. And if we want to stand a chance of fixing any or all of those things that you may have going on, then we got to get right between the ears. We need to clean up our headspace and our certainty. And what I see when doctors get this straightened out, we have the biggest pop, we have the biggest shift, and everything else is dependent upon it. Just for fun, I put in a chat GPT. Doctors' certainty is crucial in patient care for what reasons? And it said trust and confidence and a whole bunch of stuff. I'd agree. Trust and confidence. Patient compliance, I'd agree. Effective communication, absolutely. Diagnostic and therapeutic decisions, yep. Legal and ethical considerations, sure. Improving outcomes, healthcare system efficiency, psychological impact on patients, absolutely all of those. And it said, in summary, a doctor certainly plays a pivotal role in building trust, ensuring patient compliance, making accurate health decisions, and improving overall healthcare outcomes. It impacts not only the direct treatment, but also the psychological and emotional well-being of patients. And I think all of that is true. To me, it comes down to this. Your certainty is absolutely the foundation of everything that you do, period. Period. It's the difference between a white belt hitting a brick and breaking their hand and a black belt hitting a brick and breaking the brick. It's the power behind everything that you do. So once you're clear about what it is that you do between your ears, you can then learn how to communicate it, and you can learn how to market it. And every aspect of your practice you will see is dependent upon that. What your practice is going to look like, what art you would have in there, what you offer, who you hire, how you communicate, how you market, all of it is dependent on clarity, certainty. Who am I? What do I do? Why do I do what I do? Why don't I do other things? Now, oftentimes I talk to doctors and they don't think they need this. And it's usually not true. Most of us need it. Even if we've done a lot of work in this regard, you just can't step in the same river twice. So my experience is when we clean this stuff up, we get big pops, we get big responses. We get lots of internal referrals, and people are signing up for care that weren't signing up for care, and people are just coming out of the woodwork. And those are the kinds of things that happen when we do that. So you personally could be really successful right now. You could be just starting out. You could be having challenges right now. You could be doing incredibly well right now. It doesn't matter where you're at. What I'm going to ask you to do as we're going through this is listen for what you need to hear. All you need to hear is the next thing for you, and make the next change for you, and then you'll pop up to your next level. I have an old adage which goes like this: shift your headspace and your practice will follow. Shift your headspace and your practice will follow. And if you don't shift your headspace, you're in for a long haul. Personally, I started out in practice and I was seeing around 10 people a day and I was full. That's all I could do. You know, hour and a half, 2 hours for a visit, 1 hour, hour and a half to visit, 2, 30 minutes a person. And anybody spending less time than me was ripping people off, right? And then I kind of grew and evolved, certainty, procedures, and I was 15 a day, 20 a day. Finally got to like 120 a day in a particular technique where most people were seeing 20 a day. And then I decided to go back down to like 70 a day and 60 a day because I wanted to put in more time and do other things, etc. But my experience is that as I grew, parts of me had to die. Old belief systems had to die. Old procedures that didn't work had to die. I really needed to get clearer to my headspace and my certainty. And it's like climbing a ladder. Headspace, certainty, and they need to be congruent. And if they're not congruent, we have destruction. Things fall apart. And next week in our next master class, we're going to be talking more about that. What I know for sure, and I've seen this so many times, if you take a 20 a day doctor, sees 20 a day, and you put him in 100 a day practice, within a very short period of time, they'll be seeing 20 a day. If you have a 100 a day doctor and you put him in a 20 a day practice, within a very short period of time, they'll be seeing 100 a day. Now, I'm saying that you should see 100 a day or 20 a day, not at all. I don't care if you see 1 a day. I'm just saying that that's what happens. When your headspace and procedures are here, that's what you'll do. And when they're here, that's what you'll do. And you'll crash somebody else's practice unless you raise that thermostat of your headspace and your certainty. So again, just like with your patients, when you do the right thing, you get a big response. When you get clear here, you get a big response. When your why is big enough and powerful enough, the how doesn't matter. But when you balance the how with the why and those are congruent, you get amazing results. So the difference, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. It's been a day. So certainty is the foundation of everything that we do. We need to clarify what it is so we can communicate it and market it. And if we do that and we are clear between certainty and procedures, we get amazing results. So my hope for you is that as you're doing these little chunks with me, you start implementing this and we can break through your glass ceiling. And your glass ceiling becomes tomorrow's floor, and you can grow your practice. You can create the practice and life of your dreams. And again, if you start to get this straightened out, you should see a lot of internal referrals. You should see people coming out of woodwork. You should see people signing up for care at a higher rate than normal. All right, so let's dive into the importance of certainty. So what do the top practices have in common? They're all technique freaks and they get amazing results, right? Now, there's lots of great technique freaks that get great results that are dying on the vine. And there are people that I coach that tell me straight out, I'm average. I'm okay. I get okay, I get good results, but I definitely know people that are better than me and they have thriving practices. So that can't be it. Well, what about they have great relationships with patients? Well, not always. If you've seen any of these old, gruff old timers, they have terrible relationships with their patients. Some of them hardly even talk to them other than lay down, do what I told you to do. So, would it be great to be good at your technique? Yes. Would it be great to be good relationships? Yes. But that's not it. What about your ability to communicate? Again, all these old, gruff old timers. That can't be it. I think it's a good idea to be great at that, but it can't be it. What about efficiency and systems? Again, I've seen horrible practices that are thriving, and I've seen great, perfect systems that are dying on the vine with nobody to see. So I promise you, the foundation of what the top practices in the world have in common is their certainty. Can I deliver the goods? I'm certain I can deliver the goods. Who am I? What do I do? Why do I do what I do? Why don't I do other things? These are the things that we need to get really clear about. And once we're clear, we then need to get the congruent systems. And again, as we're doing these master classes over time, we're going to be looking at systems. How do I communicate? How do I market? How do I hire staff? How do I bring on the right team? How do I set objectives? All of that kind of stuff needs to be in line, but I want to start right here in between the ears. So symptoms that we don't have certainty. It's hard to ask for money, or you ask for money, but they got to go home and think about it a lot. Patients don't refer. We're anxious about doing exams or report of findings, re-exams, re-reports. That's a big one. We're uncomfortable giving health talks or doing screenings. We're afraid to tell people what we know they need to hear. We're afraid to tell them the truth and the consequences of their actions. Now, you're in the community, you know enough about me. Care versus scare. We're not doing any scare tactics, but we've got to be honest with people and tell them the truth, whatever our truth is, in a loving, compassionate way by empowering them. We find that we're using scare tactics or we're using manipulation to try and manipulate people, and it's in their best interest. I hear that all the time. You have problems sleeping at night. Now, look, that could be a bad pillow or a bad bed, but it could be anxiety because you know that you're not clear and congruent between your ears about how you practice and what you do. You might feel burnt out. You might feel that you're not thriving or having the success that you desire. You could have a low acceptance rate. You could have a high dropout rate. You could have a low retention or PVA. There could be a lot of self-doubt. I hear these things all the time. Collection issues, troubles asking for money. What other ones can you think of? As I was going through those, did those ring a bell? Did you recognize, dang it, I have a few of those. You may have some certainty issues. Listen on. So if we're not 100% congruent with every thought, word, deed, and action, every thought, word, deed, and action, you will have destruction somewhere in your life. That's just how this works. And again, next week, we'll be talking more about that. So how do we acquire certainty? What I hear a lot of times at the seminars is fake it till you make it. And that has just never worked for me. So the first thing I want to do is clarify and define what certainty means to you. It's different for everyone. I don't care about my certainty. I don't care about your technique guru's certainty. I care about your certainty. So we need to clarify what that is for you. There's different versions of reality for all of us. And clearly there is no right or wrong. There's only your right and wrong. When I'm working with my one-on-one coaching clients, we start off and we do this kind of sentence completion in this module. And I got this from sentence completion from Nathaniel Brandon, if you happen to know him, the 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. I was blessed enough to get to do some one-on-one coaching with him for a while. And he talks about the sentence completion where you know, as an optimal healthcare provider, I am certain that, and you write it out and you write it out. I am certain that, I am certain that, I am certain that. And then when you start to like run out of things to say, now you're getting to the good stuff. right? Don't stop. Just keep it as an optimal healthcare provider. I am certain that, and keep going and going until you just cannot get anything else out, because that's where you're going to get the good stuff. That's where pieces are going to start to come out, where you're going to start to see contradictions. Okay. So here are the ones that I have my doctors go through just to start to wake up the mind a bit. As an optimal healthcare provider, I am certain that. As an optimal healthcare provider, I would like to be certain that I blank. As an optimal healthcare provider, I am certain that I. So there should be a difference between what I'd like to be certain that I and what I am certain that I, because that gives you something to work towards. Okay. My patients can be certain that I, and I would like my patients to be certain that I. So this is, clearly a video. You can go and write those down, but spend time on that. If you do that, you'll be amazed at what starts to come out, where you start to recognize these are real contradictions. I'm not real clear about this. I'm not real certain about this. Again, when I start with people, most people feel I don't have this problem. I am really certain about everything, blah, blah, blah. And as we start going through this, most people start to go, wow. Most of my coaching clients, about once we get through this and clear it up, usually around once a year or so, they'll go through it again. You just can't step in the same river twice. And, who you are grows and evolves. So I go through this every year or two. I've done this for 24 years now. And I never go through it and don't get something new out of it. Okay. So I want to give you certain models, just some different models. As you know, my intent and what I love working with is doctors, practitioners who want to help people get healthy and stay healthy and have the best life possible. It's more about optimal health and wellness than it is just getting out of pain. I don't have a problem with doctors who just work with people to get out of pain. It's just not what I do. It doesn't turn me on, but no problems with it at all. So I like to take a look at these different models that might help you start to recognize, for yourself, or far out, yeah, I'm doing a really good job, like I'm clean as far as that goes. And again, if you are not looking to do, I actually got an email today from a guy who was doing some of my program stuff, not working with me directly, and he sent an email today saying, hey, you know what, thank you so much, like I'm really clear, I'm not an optimal health and wellness guy. That's not who I am. I'm a symptom guy. Far out. And if that happens to be you, this may not be right for you. Okay, so I like to look at these two different models, and they have two different intents and purposes. One is the optimal health and wellness model, and one is the disease or sick care or crisis care model. Okay, so the intent of the disease or sick care or crisis care model is the detection and treatment of symptoms, disease, and infirmity. More progressive doctors strive for early detection and treatment of symptoms, disease, and infirmity. Now, in this model, what's the best that you can hope for? Well, the best you can hope for is to fix a problem after it already occurs. And are there any advantages to this model? Absolutely. It's brilliant when it comes to crisis care. Stop the bleeding, set the bone, kill the cancer. I mean, it's brilliant when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's just got nothing to do with healthcare. Okay. And I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying they're very, very different. Now, you could be a chiropractor, naturopath, osteopath, medical doctor, did I say acupuncturist? You could be any of these guys, and I coach all of these. And you can practice in the disease care model. Now there is, sorry, my bad. Okay, so nothing to do with healthcare. So in this model, symptoms, and this is really important, symptoms are the presence of something evil that we need to go to war with. Back in the 1700s in England, the Navy was going out, and then weeks, months later, they were getting sick. They were bleeding, they were bruising, they were getting a lot of fatigue, and they were dying. And they'd have to go back to shore to nurse themselves and get better. And when they came back on, they were in really bad shape. They were bleeding, their teeth were falling out. And the diagnosis was, any idea? Do you remember? The diagnosis was evil spirits. You had an evil spirit. And because that model is I have to go to war with it, what was the solution to that problem? Yeah, they burned him at the stake. And my question is, did that fix the problem? And the answer is yes. When they burned him at the stake, they quit bleeding, they didn't have fatigue, and they didn't bruise anymore, right? So that fixed that problem. But eventually, did they figure out something else that worked a little bit better? Yes. Any idea? Yeah, they gave him a lime. They gave him a lime a day. English sailors, the limeys, they gave him a lime a day. And that seemed to keep them from having that problem. And then when they went to war, they could stay out there longer than these other guys, and they had a real strong fleet, and they kicked butt. Because what they had was scurvy, which was the absence of something essential. It was the absence of ascorbic acid, vitamin C, right? So again, in that model, it is I need to go to war with the evil perpetrator. But the intent of the health and wellness model is different. Disease is not the presence of something evil. It's the absence of something essential. Clean water, clean air, good nutrients, proper nerve supply, flow of chi. Like, these are the essential things that we need. When we don't have something that's essential, we end up being sick. So this is not the presence of something evil, it's the absence of something essential. And our job is to give them the essential thing they need: proper nerve supply, lifestyle recommendations, eat well, exercise, deal with stress. It's based on promoting, regaining, and maintaining health and wellness, and thereby preventing disease and infirmity. It's a very different intent and model. Again, I want to be really clear. I'm not saying one is better than the other. They're just different. And when you apply sick care as healthcare, you get sick, dying, and dead people. And when you apply healthcare as sick care, you get sick, dying, and dead people. I used to talk about this in my healthcare talks, and I skydived a lot. And I would say, if my parachute doesn't open and I happen to live, don't bring me to a chiropractor. Don't bring me to a naturopath. Don't needle me with my buddy who's an acupuncturist. I want to go to that model. Stop the bleeding, right? Then I want to see one of these guys to get my life back, to get my health back. So these are really, really different, right? And these are things you may have heard before and you may not, but I want you to be clear about which model do you want to practice in and which one are you actually practicing in. And if there's a difference, that's a contradiction that leads to destruction, and you need to clean it up if you want to be as successful as you'd like to be. So we get clear here of who am I, what do I do, how do I want to practice? And then we look at our procedures and see, will that lead to that? How am I on the phone when we get a new patient? What about my marketing? What about my consult, exam, report of findings? Like, all of what do I have on my walls? Which model am I promoting? Right? So many of us, I'm a health and wellness doctor. It's, Rosen Pain Clinic. Right? I mean, it's just those are the kind of contradictions we want to start to get clear about. So how would you know if you were healthy? I talk about this story. Uncle Joe, never sick a day in his life, goes to the doctor, does all these tests, blood work and urine work and a BAD and a DOG and all these different tests. And then the computer spits it out and says, you're healthy, Uncle Joe. And on the way home, Uncle Joe dies of a what? Uncle Joe dies of a heart attack. We've all heard that story. And the question is, was Uncle Joe healthy the day before he died of a heart attack? And of course, the answer is no. It's just those tests didn't measure that thing, right? So the question is does the absence of symptoms mean you're healthy? And the answer is no. Many of you have seen this. We talk about -10 is near death. 0 is comfortable. I feel good, but I'm not functioning at my optimum. +10 is I'm as healthy as I can be. I'm functioning as well as I can possibly function. So many of us go by symptoms, but symptoms are one of the worst things to go by because they can change so simply. right? I could be in a good mood. I got a new girlfriend. You know, I got a new Corvette. Like I'm really happy and I feel good for the time being, right? So to me, I want to be really clear that symptoms does not mean that I'm not the absence of health. Wait, the absence of symptoms does not mean I'm healthy. And therefore, I want to be able to do other things than just go by their symptoms. Okay, so two models of healthcare with two distinct and different intents and purposes. Here we go. Disease care. What do I need to do to survive? What do I need to do to survive? I'm moving away from something that I don't want. Don't want that. So I'm going to move away from it. It's reactive versus proactive. I'm worried about being a victim. It's a fear of dying. That's what is in that model. And again, I'm not giving that model a hard time. Two different intents, purposes. In wellness care, what do I have to do to thrive? Proper nerve supply, eat well, exercise, deal with stress. I'm moving towards what I want, optimal health. I'm proactive, not reactive. I'm not waiting until I'm sick, because the best you can do in that model is you can find the symptom and do something about it. In this other model, the best stuff we ever do for people is preventing problems that they never got, that they would have had. It's about being empowered and in control. It's about living actively. Okay, so again, most of these won't be this long. I apologize. Here's the formula for certainty that I take my doctors through. You need to really clarify, who are you as a healthcare provider? So who are you? What do you do? What don't you do? Why? What makes you different? Really important question. If you're a chiropractor, what is a subluxation? So many of us are really clueless about this. I have our module on this subject, which really helps you get a better understanding of why and how and what, why what you do works, etc. If you're acupuncturist and you're, talking about congestion of chi, like if you're doing functional medicine and nutrition, really clear about what is the main thing that I focus on and how do I communicate that with my patients. Do I give supplements and nutrition? If so, why? If not, why not? Do I do neuroemotional work? If so, why? Or why not? Do I give lifestyle advice? If so, why? Or why not? Do I use therapies? So why or why not? These are things you really want to start to think through. So I'm going to ask you to do that and then comment. Let me know your thoughts. If you have questions, you're going to let me know. Now, in the club, we're going to be diving deep into those questions right there. And this is the umbrella that I look at. And I have this all the time when I'm talking to chiropractors and they go, well, I do chiropractic, but I also do nutrition. Acupuncturist, I needle, but I also use herbs, and like what I like to look at is the umbrella. What is it that you do? Here's mine. I help people get healthy, stay healthy, and have the best life possible. That's what I do. Okay. How do you do it? Well, I correct subluxations and make sure people get proper nerve supply. I give lifestyle advice so that they eat well, exercise, deal with stress. I use nutrition for these reasons. I do neuroemotional work for these reasons. I do these specific techniques for these reasons. I do these therapies for these reasons, right? That's what I want you to start to look through and start to think through. Now, it's our maiden voyage for the club. The club it's $47 a month. It won't be that, it'll go up, but right now it's $47 a month, which you're welcome to join. In the club, we're going to go through this and then we're going to dive deep into that, right? And I'm going to bring on a few doctors that I've coached over the years and we're going to dive deep into their thoughts on it. And if you happen to be on that call, I'm going to draw it out of you. It's going to be in a Zoom room and we're going to talk this out to make sure that we clarify your truths. Who are you? What do you do? Why do you do what you do? Why don't you do other things? If you would like a free month in there, you're welcome. Just put club in the comment below, and I'll give you a free month. And this Thursday, you can join that call where we'll dive deep into this. And you know, if you want out, you can always get out. But yeah, so if you'd like to join the club, put club below, and I will send you information how you can get a free month. And then what we doing on this Thursday, I'm going to dive into what's your umbrella. What do you do? Why do you do it? How do you do it, etc. So I hope that you found this of value. I hope it gave you food for thought. I hope that you go, far out, man. That's exactly how I want to practice, and I'm doing it. Or, ooh, there are some areas that aren't really congruent, and I need to clean those up. And if that's the truth, then over this chunk of time, my intent is to be pointing out to you things that you could start to do to clean that up. So I hope that you found that of value. Please comment in the comments below if you have questions, specific things you'd like me to go over in these classes coming up. We'll do one master class, three a month. So 3 weeks on, then I always take a week off and regenerate and recover. So I hope that helps. As always, much love and aloha. Bye, gang.